Okay, so the plants here behind me are Blue Agave, and today I'm going to be showing you how to remove them. So these ones here, they were planted about 5 or 6 years ago, and they're 6 foot tall. But believe it or not, when they were first planted, they were only about 6 inches tall. These ones, they've never ever been watered. They are native to Mexico, I think, and they're used to living in drought conditions. They have very shallow root system, which is very important for what I'm going to demonstrate today, because it means that it's not going to be too difficult to get them out of the ground. So the reason that I'm getting rid of them today is there's basically 2 reasons. The first reason is that they tend to produce a lot of babies, and the babies seem to grow underneath these big long leaves here, which makes them very inaccessible. So the only way you're going to get rid of them is to remove these big leaves. Now, they put out lots of runners, and also the runners that shoot up little babies are going to go underneath brick like this and try and pop up under here. So that's another reason to get rid of them. The second reason I'm getting rid of them is because they actually have a lifespan, and they'll live between 5 and 15 years, and at the end of their life they'll produce a big long stalk that's about 15 foot high. That stalk is very fibrous, very heavy, very difficult to get rid of. Once that stalk has flowered, this part of the plant dies. The pups around it, that if you allowed them to grow, they'll still be alive, and they'll make getting rid of this plant very difficult. These leaves will dry up and they'll become very fibrous and very difficult to saw through. So that's really why I'm going to get rid of them. I don't want to deal with them once they're died. Okay, so the tools that you're going to use to get rid of these great big agave are going to be a nice thick pair of leather gloves. If you can get ones with longer arm protection, then you should do that. You should also wear as many layers as you can, because those spines on the side of the plant, they're going to penetrate through your clothing if you allow them to. Today is a really good day to remove them, because it's quite chilly outside and you're not going to overheat. Footwear, you need to wear nice thick soles. You don't want to tread on the spines. The spines can pierce through the sole of a shoe. Perhaps this isn't the best example of what to wear. Tools to remove the leaves, you want to use something like this. This is called a reciprocating saw, and you're much better off using this than you are using a chainsaw. A chainsaw will produce too much sap, and you really want to avoid getting the sap which comes out of the leaves onto your skin. The sap is poisonous, and it will bring out a rash or maybe even blisters. It's also good to have a pair of goggles like this for eye protection, or sunglasses. Okay, so underneath here you can see that there is a pup that started to grow. So these are the things that you really want to remove as soon as they get big enough to dig out. There's another one over here which might be easier to see. Right. So, put on your face protection and there's your first leaf removed. Be very careful when you hold it not to cut yourself on these or this. and you really want to dispose of it as soon as you've cut it up or cut it off, because that way you won't risk putting your hand on it or treading on it. So here I have exposed the roots, and I've got rid of some of those extra pieces that were growing around the side. I still have some more to take out. Here's the trash. But I wanted to show you the runners. So these are examples of the runners. Now these have been cut obviously, but they can be 5, 6, 7 feet long. And here's what they're like when they pop up out of the ground. So what I've done now is, now I've got rid of all the pups that were around the outside. I have dug around the base of the plant, and I made sure I used that reciprocating saw to cut away any of the roots that might be around the outside. So I've dug this little channel here, and I'm going to use my hose to flood it with some water. Okay, so the area's been flooded. You saw me wriggling it around. I think it's ready to come out. Yeah, if you want to come around here, you can see that there's some roots. You can see the root structure. See, it doesn't really have very big roots. So I can just move all of those out of my way with my hand, like this. And it should be ready to roll down the hill. Oh, mind you.